Good afternoon. My name is Caitlin Manuel. I'm in Miss Royals English Class 112-802. Today I'm going to talk about how important it is to know your job. I had just received my first big girl job offer and I was ecstatic. Little did I know all the extra training that I would have to do. When starting a new job, especially in the medical field, there's much more education you still have to do, way more than you could ever think. Little did I know how important this education will become to me. One of the main educations that they do is basic life support. Basic life support is when one is trained to do simple acts, such as CPR. They do this on patients who are in cardiac arrest, who are choking, and so on. People will perform these skills until other help arrives, such as EMS. Being trained in basic life support means that you are capable of helping someone live. Even though I was working in the hospital, I never actually thought I'd have to do CPR. But once I got the job offer from the emergency department, I knew it was only a matter of time. My first day out of orientation, I had to perform CPR. My coworkers had warned me about their first day out of their orientation and how they had to perform CPR. But I never thought it would happen to me. I was overwhelmed with excitement, but once again, I was very nervous. Little did I know I was going to have to perform CPR on a person instead of a mannequin, using the training classes to perform CPR. It was very hard on me, not only physically, but mentally. When I first stepped up to the bed to check on the patient, I noticed the patient was not breathing. I yelled for the doctor to come in immediately and I initiated the CPR. The very first compressions felt like the patient's ribs were breaking right underneath my hands. Even after the code was long over, I still could not get the feel of the patient's ribs breaking underneath my hands out of my head. And it was also just a memory that stayed with me for days and days. The rush of emotions and longing for this patient to live would just flood over me as I was performing CPR and even a couple days after, because all I could remember was that patient's face. I was never so thankful for having to sit in the class for 5 hours listening and reenacting a cardiac arrest. I've never thought training would have been so important at that time. At that moment in time, I felt so proud to have that knowledge and training in CPR in a time like this in a cardiac arrest. One can save a life just by simply initiating the cardiac arrest while other people come in to help. Knowing what actions to take could be the deciding factor on whether this person lives or dies. Life is a very precious gift and should not be taken for granted. Anyone who has the desire and willingness should be trained in CPR. I can still to this day remember my first patient whom I performed CPR on, especially when other patients come in who I'm having to perform CPR on. I have never been more proud of myself than I was in that moment for knowing when and where to be and what to do. Now I believe in the training that is forced upon new employees strongly, and I hope that this will show you just how important all of it really is. Thank you for listening.